These are all the different things that we can sow in March, and then also things that we can plant, including our vegetables, our herbs, and also some flowers as well. March is one of those months where we might see absolutely beautiful sunshine. It's going to feel like spring is very much here, or actually we could see snow and quite a few frosts as well. So we're still going to be quite cautious, and we're still going to be looking at things that need protection and are going to want things like frost cloth like we've got here in the background, or that are going to want to be in the house and kept protected as well. So first of all, let's start with the things that we can sow in the house and that will need to stay in the house until they can come outside when it's night temperatures of around 10 Celsius, or under cover around the same temperature as well. And those first things are our peppers, chilies and aubergines. These are things that you're really going to want to get going with now. And if you're looking for early varieties, then they are ones that are hopefully going to produce that a little bit quicker for you from seed. And then our tomatoes. So for some of us, it may be time to sow our tomatoes. For others, it may be a bit too early. I would suggest that you're looking at around 8 weeks before you want to plant them out. So for me, that's going to be early to mid-March for my tomatoes that are going to be grown under cover. And then from mid to late March for any tomatoes that I'll be growing outside. If you haven't already started celery, then it's a fantastic time to get some celery in. They will want the protection of undercover and also some celeriac as well. And then Luther is definitely worth a try. So these are to grow eco-friendly sponges, and they I find do better from early to mid-March for myself. And then I also have some basil that will be started in the house for a little bit of warmth, and then depending on the weather they'll either come outside in the polytunnel or they'll stay inside. And then the last one in the house that I would be doing right at the very end of the month is melon. These do take that little bit longer to get going, but they do want that protection. Then we're looking at things under cover. So these are going to be things that are a little bit more hardy and will be absolutely fine with a frost cloth. You may, however, want to take them in to germinate inside and then bring them back outside to make sure they get plenty of light and they stay nice and stocky, and then keep them covered with some frost cloth if need be on nights that are 3 Celsius and below, or if there's any risk of frost. So first of all, we got our brassicas. So that would be things like our summer cabbages and our summer cauliflowers. Also Calabrese. So Calabrese is what we buy in the shop as broccoli. So it's whole heads rather than shooting varieties. And then kohlrabis and turnips. Then we're looking at things like our lettuce, our beetroot, our spinach, and things like your oriental greens like your pak choi and things like that. They do very well under cover. For our alliums, then we're looking at spring onions, onions from seed, but you could also do onions from set. Make sure that they are spring planting varieties. And then leeks. I will always suggest that leeks would be better for summer varieties, and then to sow winter varieties a little bit later. And then we have our peas and our broad beans. Peas are actually really quite hardy, so they're fantastic to get in. Broad beans you can either sow direct if you don't have too many issues with rodents, or pop them under cover. No additional heat is usually needed for these and they'll germinate quite well. And then bulb fennel and asparagus. And then things that we can sow or plant directly outside as well at this time could be things like your beetroot, particularly if you've got the elongated versions. They do well from a direct sowing. Our carrots, our parsnips. I usually go by once the weeds start growing, then I'm happy that they will start to germinate. And then also our radish, as I said before, our broad beans as well. You could also plant some early potatoes. They take around 3 weeks usually to break through the surface. And then after that, depending on the type, you may be earthing them up. I have done a previous grow along on these, so just comment potatoes if you'd like the link to that, and it'll go over the different types and what help they'll need. But if you don't want to be worried about them, whether or not they're going to get frost damage, then wait till 3 weeks before your last frost date. And then if anybody on your allotments or that you know is actually splitting up some rhubarb, then it's a fantastic time to get that planted as well. Some herbs to think about growing under cover would be things like parsley, coriander, thyme, chives, sage and mint. And then also one that I really like is sorrel as well, and that grows very well from seed at this time of year. March is also a fantastic time to get some of our flower seeds in. Any that are half hardy on the packet will usually be absolutely fine. This will mean that they are hardy to cold, but they won't be hardy to frost. So at that point you can cover them up with a frost cloth or take them in if it is going to get a really cold snap. So we will be doing our cosmos roughly around mid-month, and then things like violas, marigolds, calendula or nasturtiums, but there are absolutely lots and lots to choose from. So just have a look at the packets and see when they suggest that you start from and whether or not they are hardy in any way. Many of the things that we are going to sow in March are fantastic to get a really good head start and get things planted as soon as possible. They will, however, catch up if this is too early for you. If you'd like any more information on any of the things on this list, then feel free to message me. We also have the sowing guide, so when I'm sowing my different seeds, in the newsletter, so comment newsletter if you'd like to sign up for that as well.